Hey guys, it's me Evie from Evie's Creations, and this video is not going to be like my regular ones. Normally you see me completely done up. I have makeup on my face, my hair's done. Can't really brush this, but I do at least wash it and put product in it. And usually I have proper lighting, well, for the most part, unless I'm like doing a last minute video, which of course happens all the time. It's usually done in my family room during the day when there's nice bright windows and light coming through those windows. But today I wanted to do a more stripped down version of myself. This is the real me. This is what I look like after working a full day. I finished a kitchen today that I've been working on for a client. So many of you know that I do refinish kitchen cabinetry. I also do furniture and interior decor and a whole bunch of other stuff, but you're not going to see me like this normally, because usually when you see me on TV or on video or on stage at a home show, I have a dress on, I have heels on, I'm all done up. But you guys, this is it. This is what I look like. The reason I'm coming to you like this today is because I have been reading my incredible friend's book, and I was inspired to share my story. My friend KariAnne Wood of Thistlewood Farms, as many of you know her, wrote this incredible book, and I was very, very lucky and blessed to receive an advance review copy to review it and to read it and to just follow along on her journey, and then share it with the world. So the book is titled So Close to Amazing. That's her right there. She is like so cute, isn't she? She's so beautiful. She's beautiful inside and out. And like I said, her name is KariAnne Wood, so you probably know her as Miss Thistlewood Farms. But I wanted to take a moment and just share my story, share my so close to amazing story. We're in a group called Everyday Amazing because we are trying to celebrate every single day. And if you know me, you know that that's something that I live by. I will be giving away this copy of this book. This is a brand new one that just came in, and it is autographed by her. So stay tuned to the rest of the blog post because I'll be giving it away. Many of you know that I am chronically ill. I have 6 autoimmune illnesses, 2 genetic disorders, and I have COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. I have been living with most of my illnesses my whole life, some of them from about my teen years on, and a few of them was, very recent diagnoses, some of which just these past couple years I've been diagnosed with. But my life can be described as challenging at times. I have coded. I'm at 7 times now, 6 or 7 times I've coded in my life where my heart has completely stopped and I've been clinically dead and had to have been revived. So that's always fun. But something that I live by every single day is to fall in love with your life, no matter what it is. Something that I believe in deeply and wholeheartedly is that no matter what your situation is, no matter how difficult life can be, no matter how many challenges you have, no matter how much pain you wake up with every single morning, which for me is a lot. I said I was going to cry. My life is not easy. There are times where I just don't want to get up. I just don't want to move. But I find that God is so good to me, and He is just so merciful and loving. And I know that in the midst of everything, He's got me. So I'm good. And no matter how many times I get put in the hospital, I always fight back and get out. And then in a few weeks, in a few days, sometimes even, I'm back on stage sharing my story or telling the world about how to DIY green, which is my personal passion, or just, loving my children, which is a blessing in itself. One of my friends told me many years ago, I guess about 7 years ago, 5 to 7 years ago, when I was at my lowest point. I was very, very depressed. I was very, very ill. I had been in the hospital for almost 4 months. I got out of the hospital only to be bedridden for another 6 months and in a wheelchair. When I wasn't in bed, I had to be in a wheelchair. And I remember thinking that this could not be my life. I remember saying that I didn't want this to be my life, that I'd rather be dead if this was going to be my life, that my kids, it wasn't fair to them to have to visit their mother. It wasn't, in bed instead of having an active mother. I've been an active human being my whole life. I love sports. I play sports. I boxed for a long time. I play basketball. I coach basketball, middle school ball. I coach soccer. And I love playing with my kids. I love getting out there on the field and running with them, playing with the dog, and I just remember saying, this can't be my life. And I remember my really good friend Victoria telling me that to snap out of it. She's very good at yelling at me. She's also very good at encouraging me. And she told me that instead of waiting for the big, huge miracle, which is healing, waking up one day and everything being completely better and my life being 100% perfect, to embrace each day and to look for each little miracle in each life, because there can be little tiny miracles found in every part of your life. I woke up today. I took a breath today. That's a miracle. I walked today. It's a miracle. My son, my daughter, my other son, they smiled at me. That's a miracle. My kids hugged me. That's a miracle. My dog, found something and brought it to me, and whether it was a dead animal or his favorite toy, the fact that he loves me, that's a miracle. The fact that I have a husband that loves me and that cares for my children, that's a miracle. So there are so many miracles in our lives, and we really have to embrace the amazing, as KariAnne says, and even our most imperfect moments, we really have to find the beauty in each and every day, and find the imperfection, and find the beautiful in the imperfection of it too, and the beauty in everything that we do wrong, because sometimes those are the best stories, when you do something so wrong that it somehow turns out right. So I wanted to share with you something that a part that I'm at right now. I've kind of been reading ahead. We're all supposed to be reading together, but I actually have read ahead and gone back and read a couple more times, different chapters, and this one, I believe, I don't even know what chapter it is. Because I'm reading the ebook, so it's a little confusing. Oh, here it is. So it's chapter 12, and it's called If You Blink, You'll Miss the French Fries. So that'll make sense when you read the book. But the life lesson in it says, when you look back on the journey, you would discover that the extraordinary parts of life are often found in the most ordinary moments. And my favorite part of this chapter, where I am right now, is right here. I'm going to read it to you. It says, looking back now, I see the purpose more clearly. I see more of the plan. In each steps of the jump, God has taught my heart, giving me the wisdom to open my eyes to my weaknesses and the courage to embrace my strengths. Along the way, he has been shaping me and refining me and allowing me to grow in ways I never could have imagined. I have learned to find joy in my imperfections and to embrace the dings and scratches of life. Even though I am cracked and imperfect and nicked and worn and weary, the potter had a plan. He is molding me into something perfectly imperfect. He delights in taking a broken vessel and using me for his design. I have discovered that it takes courage to open to a knock at the door. Opening a door can be scary. I know dream following can be overwhelming. When faced with the fear that we have hoped and dreamed and prayed for, we are often reluctant to embrace what is right in front of us. But we serve a God whose plans are so much more amazing than our own. I've learned along the journey to die a little more to myself, to humble myself, and my pot roast, which is a funny story, by the way, the pot roast story, and recognize how much I have to learn from my neighbors. So, and those around me, I would say. So I just love that. She says we're often reluctant to embrace what is right in front of us, and also we're just afraid to follow our dreams. For me, a few years ago, my dream was to be a nurse, or I thought that was my dream. My dream, actually, my whole life, was, I remember wanting to just make a difference. I remember wanting to, I was a little girl that was very damaged. My life was very, very difficult. I had a very abusive father who left us, and I grew up with my mother who, did the best she could. She's an amazing woman. But she just needed a lot of help, and it was very difficult. I had to sort of be an adult at a very young age, and I remember resenting that as I grew older. And I remember just feeling very unhappy with who I was and who I'd become. And I won't tell my whole story today. One day I will, or if you've seen me on stage, you've seen most of my story. But I didn't love myself. I especially didn't love myself because I'm a lot like my biological father. I look almost exactly like him. So I thought I was not pretty. I thought I was ugly. I tend to have a lot of similar ways about me. I say things the same way. I act the same way. I have a tendency to have certain parts of my attitude be just like his, even the not so pretty ones, the ones that are not nice, the ones that I remember hating about him. I find that I have a lot of those qualities. So I didn't love myself. And growing up the way I did, I never really had time to sort of learn to love myself because it was like a survival type environment where I just had to get through the day and get my brother through the day and just live. You know, we were below the poverty line. Sometimes we didn't have food. Sometimes we didn't have shelter. We had to. I can't even remember how many times we got like, you know, kicked out of apartments and all that stuff. So, you know, it was very unstable. But reading this book and just thinking throughout my life and knowing, you know, when I got to be about, I guess it was 23, 24, it just hit me that me being in nursing school and first pursuing a healthcare career wasn't going to be the best option for me because I was chronically ill myself. I was very immune suppressed, and I remember thinking, what am I going to do with my life? Like, I wanted my life to mean something. That's why I had gone into nursing, because I wanted to help people. I wanted to do something that would be meaningful because I felt very meaningless. And I found blogging, and it was so random the way I found it. Before I knew it, I realized it was a platform that I had been given, a platform to share my story, and I started following my dreams. My dream has always been, you know, to sort of, like I said, make a difference, but I've always loved being on stage. I've always loved being in front of a TV camera. I've always loved acting. I've always loved, I did theater my whole life. I sang my whole life, and my my desire for that kind of culminated in me taking a huge chance and auditioning for the Breathless Choir, which, if you know my story, you know that I was cast in it. And I got to tell my story, and I got to sing. I actually got to sing at the Apollo Theater, which I remember thinking, there's no way I'm going to get cast. I'm not pretty enough. See, all the things that I thought as a child. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of it. But my friend actually broke me down and said I should do it. She like wore me down. She just kept saying, you need to do this, you need to do this. So I auditioned it. I remember thinking, this is silly. I didn't even tell my husband or my children that I was auditioning. I kind of sat in a corner by myself when everybody was gone and filmed myself singing, because we had to sing on camera before they could even, you know, consider us for the part. And I sang, and then I sent it. I got back, you know, the email saying they love you. Now they want you to come in and do a screen test. So I went to New York, and I sang again. And I actually sang a song by Casting Crowns, which I love. And it's the reason I love it so much is because that song has kind of helped me find my worth, find, you know, who I am in this world. And the song is called Who Am I? And it talks about how, you know, it's not because of who I am, but because of who he is. It's not because of what I've done, but because of what he's done. And, you know, and that was just mind-blowing when I first heard the song. I remember thinking, it's not about me. You know, and I am special. I'm created by him. I'm a creation of the Lord. And so that was huge for me. So I sang that song, and I got the part. And that mini documentary was broken into a whole bunch of videos for ads, because Philips Respironics was who was casting, and it was for basically anybody who had breathing difficulties, and we got to share our stories. And anybody that had sang in the past or wanted to sing, we got to sing again, and we formed a choir. And that mini documentary went on to win a Grand Prix at Cannes Film Festival in 2016. And I got to go to Amsterdam and Orlando and several other places to just tell my story on the road with them. And I remember sitting, so my favorite artist as a child was Rembrandt. And I remember sitting in front of Rembrandt's Night Watch with like tears rolling down my face, because I didn't think a few years ago that I would make it past age 30, and there I was at age 33, sitting in front of my favorite painting, one-on-one, because we actually got a private viewing of the Rijksmuseum. Like, it was incredible. We had a private viewing. There was nobody else, and apparently the last time they had given anybody a private viewing, it was of royalty, a member of British royalty. So the fact that they did that for us was incredible, and the fact that I not only made it past 30, I got to live my dream out of singing on a stage, an incredible stage, and because of that, it opened a whole bunch of other opportunities for me, and now I get to travel the country and speak at events, and I don't just do how to DIY green, you know, stage presentations. I also get to do motivational speaking and tell my story, and hopefully encourage and inspire other people who are going through what I'm going through. Hopefully let them know that they are amazing. And even though so many minutes in our lives we feel like we're so close to amazing, but not yet, or we feel like I'm afraid to open that door, like the book says. I'm afraid to open that door because it's scary, and what if I'm not good at it? What if I can't? What if I don't like what I find? What if I'm not going to make it? What if I fail? What if I fall flat on my face? You won't know until you try. I've tried, and I've made it. You know what? The fact that I get to live this life and it be my career is amazing. The fact that I get to leave that legacy for my kids, even if I don't live as long as I'm supposed to, as long as I'm, as a human being is supposed to, my kids get to see me on screen for the rest of their lives. They get to see me singing at the Rijksmuseum. They get to see me singing at the Apollo, which they know was my dream. They get to see me just persevering in the middle of heartbreak, of physical and emotional pain. They get to see me thriving, not just surviving anymore. I'm thriving. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm very grateful for that. Living with chronic pain, living with chronic illness is not an easy thing, but it's taught me that if anything, above all else, I am capable of achieving anything I want if I just set my mind and my heart to it, and I really work hard for it. I can accomplish it because I've accomplished things being sick that most people don't accomplish being healthy. So you guys, go get this book as soon as it hits shelves. It's going to hit shelves soon. You can pre-order it. Buy this book. It's made me confront a lot of fears that I had. It's made me confront a lot of issues and uncertainties that I have been dealing with. It's made me confront the not so pretty parts of myself, which I am working so hard to change, or let the Lord change, really, because I can't change by myself. It's taught me that, like she says, she can be a rock star at life, just no matter what. And then the next day have a tragic miscalculation, as she says, when she tried to cut her own bangs. But embrace the imperfect you that God created you to be. Because in that imperfection, you'll find that there's such beauty. So, thank you, KariAnne, for writing the book. Thank you for letting me read it. And thank you for just being such an inspiration in my life. And thank you for letting me share my story. And thank everybody that follows my blog and that has been so good to me for so long, that goes to my stage presentations, that goes to my events to see me and talk to me. Thank you for being you and loving me in spite of me. I don't know what I would do without you guys. So thank you. And I hope that even though this was a very long video, and I look the way I look, I hope that the point comes across. And my point is, that you are amazing. We are all amazing. I'm amazing. Glory be to God for that, because I certainly don't feel amazing all the time. But yeah, so thank you. Get the book and enter to win this signed copy of it. Alright? Bye.